Grapevines are incredible. Not only do you get delicious fruit, you can make raisins, juice, jelly, and the plants are amazing too. They grow super fast and you can train them up and over structures, on an arbor to provide shade for a patio, or in this case, we have an arbor over our greenhouse to shade it in the summer when it's too hot. So check out this video that we filmed over the last few years. So we're going to take a quick look at the materials. This is a 4x4 piece of redwood. It was 8 foot long, so we just cut it in half. Here we have a 2x4 12 foot chunk of redwood, and then we have two 2x6 12 foot long pieces of redwood. To get over the greenhouse, it's going to be about 11.5 feet, so we'll cut them to length once we get it over there. It's going to make a T on each end, and then we'll use wires to run lengthwise to fill in all the space for the arbor. We'll show you that after it's done. The wire that we're going to use to run that length is 9 gauge galvanized steel, and then to make sure we get them tight, these are turnbuckles. They're 3/8 inch turnbuckles to attach the wire to the ends that'll go into the 4x4. That's 5/16 lag screw. And then to attach the 2x6s to the 4x4s on the ends, we're going to use bolts. So that'll go through and tighten it. And to do that, we're going to have to drill holes. So this is a 3/8 inch drill bit. And then to attach all the wood, we just got some 2.5 inch deck screws for outdoor use. And there's the nuts, and the last thing is lag screws to tighten everything together to screw the 4x4 on top of our posts. All right, so here we got a 4x6 pressure treated. It's 10 feet long. It's in the ground about 3 feet, and we just dug the post hole with a post hole digger, and then we got a level just to make sure we get it level. So the idea then is we're going to attach our 2x6s here, and we're going to bolt them on, and we'll show you that in a minute. So here you can see how we sandwiched that 4x6 with the 2x6s and then bolted them together. Put the 4x4 on top and then the braces. All right, so we got our arbor up, and as you can see, we built it right over the top of our greenhouse. So our greenhouse, our summers are super sunny, so our greenhouse gets way too hot for us to grow anything in there or use it. And to protect the greenhouse and some of the stuff we have in it, it's going to be nice to grow this arbor over it to shade it in the summer. And it's on a little bit on the north side of the greenhouse, so it won't shade it in the fall and spring. Plus, since the grapevines won't have any leaves in the winter, it shouldn't shade it at all in the winter. So to give us a head start on getting the grapevine to the arbor, we just built it, but we actually planted this grapevine last March, so it's been a year now. And I trained it over in the direction that we wanted it to go, but as you can see, it didn't make it to the top of the arbor. But that's okay because it's established its roots, and its roots are zones much bigger. But as opposed to using this material, we want a really strong trunk going up there. So we're actually going to prune it all the way back and then use the vigor that it produces to get it one nice trunk that goes all the way up. So to do that, we're going to cut all this off, and we're going to pick 3 buds here. And I'm going to cut it here, and I'm going to cut this off, and this off, and this off. So then these 3 will probably produce shoots, maybe some others too, but I'm going to expect at least 3 here, and then we'll pick the most vigorous one that's kind of going in the direction we want, and we'll take the other ones off when they're really small. That vigorous one, we'll train it up this way, and we'll hope that next year it gets at least to the top of the arbor. My guess is it'll go up at least to the top of the arbor, and then we'll start training it across the arbor. We'll see how far it gets. It's going to be fun to watch it grow. Okay, so it's early March of the following early spring, and as you can see, we got some braces on the arbor for some reinforcement, and then we also put wires along the length here with we got our wires up with our turnbuckles. So our arbor is completely built now, and now's the time to do the early spring pruning to set the vine up to cover the entire arbor. So we're going to take a look at that now. So the goal for this season is going to be to get the main trunk to form a long cordon across the top of the arbor that will prune back to every year after this year. So what we need to do now is take off all the growth that's not in that main trunk. So first we're gonna start here at the bottom and just take off all of this. Just gonna cut. One thing to think about when you're pruning is that you want the blade always on the side that you're gonna keep. So you got to hold your pruners so that they make a good clean cut. And then we had this cage on there just to protect it a little, and we had this string that we used to train it up last year. So we don't need any of that anymore. But this will be our trunk. Just take everything else off. And then as shoots come out of this trunk this year, we will try to grab them before they're more than a couple inches long and just pull them off or prune them off. That'll happen early in the spring because we really want the vine to focus all of its attention on growing up on the arbor and trying to cover the whole structure. So we'll get another angle here and show you a few more cuts. Okay, so during the season last year, I tied this vine here just to help it stay up on the structure, and then started training this shoot up along that 2x4 in the middle. There will be where we'll train the main cordon that we'll leave, and each spring it'll be about pruning back to spurs. So now what we're gonna do, like we did down there at the bottom of the vine, is take off all these other shoots. And then we're also going to shorten this one. So let's go ahead and take off everything else. And this is our main vine here. Get this out of here. So I'm not sure how well you can see it, but the growth gets a little bit weak here. This was at the end of the season. So I'm actually going to prune it back some to start here where the vine's nice and strong. So we're going to leave this tape that I put on last fall or so when it came up there. We're going to prune right here, and then we're going to try to use this shoot as the main shoot that we train along the 2x4 throughout the season this year. So we're going to start with that, and it'll put out some other shoots, and we can let a few of them go, but really we want to take them off if we can to focus the growth on that shoot. Just got a couple more here to prune off. And I think we should be good. So it's May 1st now, and the grape vine is already leafing out, and it's even trying to put some fruit on, if you can see it. But we want it to focus all its energy up on the arbor. So we got a nice shoot coming out here as opposed to in the middle. Maybe we'll get another one in the middle, but if not, we can use this one to train it. But this is the time, if you can get them when they're young, that you want to take all these off. So that's what we're going to do real quick. You can just kind of twist them off like that. Like I said, that makes it put all of its energy up on the arbor, and then that'll make this develop into a nice trunk. Might need the pruners for that. No, if they get a little bit bigger, that's okay too, but you want to try to get them, before they're 6 to 9 inches. Just like that's perfect. Did I get them all? One more there. And we might need to prune one there, but that gives you an idea of how you can get it to focus all its growth into one spot. and then we're going to train that onto the arbor this season. Today is September 7th, and after we tied the tape on this growing season, all we've done is cut off a few shoots that were going in the wrong way, and we even harvested a few grapes, early season grapes. But today we want to catch this before it hardens off. You can see our main shoot that we tied on the 2x4 has come up and over in this way, and all we're going to do is make sure we get it back on our 2x4. So I just cut it off of this wire here, and then I can just tape it in here. And then, so the good news is this growing season we accomplished our goal of getting the main cordon all the way across the arbor. So we'll come back next spring and show you how we prune it then. Okay, so it's the following spring now, and we need to get the grapevine pruned while it's still dormant. It's April, so we're a little bit late. Usually we get to this in March, but now it's getting really exciting because we've got the whole arbor covered basically. And since this is a spur prune variety, what we're gonna do is choose our cordon, which, if you remember, we tied in to this 2x4. So this cane is going to be the cordon long term for this vine. So we can readjust it, tie it in, get it right where we want it, and then we're going to cut all of the other growth off. So we'll just start cutting these off. Definitely get this out of my way. But I'll make some cuts back there. We'll get it all pruned, and then we'll show you what it looked like when we're done. So we just about got all of the other main shoots pruned off. And then now I'm going to readjust this cordon a little to get it a little more straight, and then prune off all the side shoots off of it as well. All right, we got the vine all pruned up, formed our cordon, pulled it tight so it would be more on the 2x4. And then this part of the growth, once it gets smaller than about pencil thickness, I like to prune it off. So we don't really need all of this in this area. So we're going to prune it back to here or so. We're going to tie that in, pull it a little bit more tight. And then if you look down that way, you can see that I left a few spurs, and that's just because this year the grapevine's 3 to 4 years old, so we can go ahead and have a small harvest. This is the first year that we'll actually get a decent harvest, and then next year it'll really fill in and we'll produce a lot. So we'll do an update later in the season. Okay, August 22nd, 2021, and we're super excited because the grapevine is starting to shade the greenhouse. You can see the vines over it. And we're gonna get our first harvest of grapes now. The grapevine's 3 years old, so we're gonna go pick some grapes. All right, not a bad harvest. Since it's its third year, this is about a half harvest. Next year should really produce quite a bit more and cover the arbor more, but we're super excited to get this. There's a few more grapes on there that will ripen up over the next week or so, and we'll get a couple more. So this vine is in its third year, and it'll start to grow in more and fill in more shade, more production. And before we end the video, let's take a quick look at our more mature grapevines on our other arbor.
We'll put a link to all our grape growing resources, including how we built this arbor and our pruning videos. So check those out. Thanks for watching Foodscaping Utah, and grow your own.
Lovely.
It's a good shot, right?